is up there, SEO pros? Welcome back. Well, welcome to the local SEO domination course. Unfortunately, I actually did a 30-minute video for the introduction yesterday, and I went to edit the video and all of it was completely muted. The mic wasn't fully plugged in, so that's a bummer, but now we actually have a little bit of practice with the introduction, I guess, so hopefully this one goes even better. So what we're going to be talking about today is sort of what's to be expected. We talked about this a little bit in the actual pitch on the landing page I showed you guys, which you guys probably got here from. But in this video, we're actually going to be going over more specifically some of the most important things that we're going to want to cover first for the website, and then, of course, move into those things. So, the first thing for the website we're going to want to look at is the content management system, the domain, and the hosting, right? Because we're not going to be able to rank anything if we don't have a domain, if we don't have hosting, and if we don't have a content management. Well, we don't need a content management system, but we're going to use one. So we have two options for the content management system. We got, hold on, let me use a different marker because this is probably really hard to see. We got Squarespace, we'll just put S, and we got WordPress. Now, we're going to be covering both of these things. The website that we're going to be trying to rank is going to be on Squarespace, but I'm also going to be using WordPress and showing you guys on a WordPress site as well how you can use similar methods to rank on Google. Now, there are going to be some fallbacks in Squarespace and also on WordPress in terms of what you can do. More on WordPress in terms of design if you're not a designer, and more on Squarespace in terms of like technical SEO if you're going to be doing things like schema markup and whatnot. Either way, both of these are great options, and if you're more of a beginner, I would suggest that you personally start with Squarespace versus WordPress unless you already know a little bit about WordPress, and that's if you're like a complete beginner. Even I, who knows a little bit about WordPress, for a lot of the sites that I work on, or that I build myself and then I rank, I would prefer Squarespace because in most markets you can rank these sites very fast, they're very easy to create, and you can see in some of my other tutorials on YouTube, which are not as step-by-step as what this course is actually going to be laying out, but there's not, it's not as easy to do on WordPress, in my opinion, than it is on Squarespace. So there's also some other things that we're going to need to talk about in terms of the layout for like WordPress and Squarespace. If you're going to be going from a just a local site targeting a certain county and a city, Squarespace is a great option. If you're targeting something more national with like different cities all around this nation, or you're targeting international, then WordPress would probably be better because you're going to need to build out way more things. So we're going to just be targeting one county in our actual tutorial or our course, but when it comes to like later on in the future, and say you guys want to start targeting like I said, like a national approach where you're targeting separate cities, I will tell you guys sort of how to do that, but that's not exactly what we're covering. We're not covering like these sort of directory type sites, especially since so many people have been trying to do this for so long and it's sort of spammy, and I really do not recommend you go down that doing that approach unless you like really want to do that. But I will be covering how I would go about doing that and how I've gone about doing that in the past when I was doing sort of the national approach. So the next thing that we're going to want to cover is content, of course. But before we get into content, we're going to want to figure out our keywords. And so we go into keyword research and, of course, keyword mapping. So we would just put that in there. Now, what does that look like? So we want certain pages on the website, right? Every local site should have certain things like a home page. Should have our services or our products, whatever you want to label it as. And your services are usually your different keywords, right? So we go boom, 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 and say our main keyword is like, for instance, web design. our other services that we're trying to rank for are going to be things related to our main keyword. So the homepage is usually targeting the main keyword, which we will be talking about more like in detail when we actually get into doing this on the computer. But I'm just giving you guys the layout. So the homepage is usually targeting things like computer repair, or sorry, your most important keyword. And we're going to find that out based off keyword research, right? A great way to do this is to actually see what categories are on Google that are most closely related to your business, then type those into a keyword research tool and see what the search rates are around that main category. That's likely going to be your main keyword. These services are probably going to be the less important keywords, which are still going to be important but have less search rates, not be as related as your main keyword. The next thing after services, we're going to have things like about. Google likes these types of pages on the website. We're going to show how to mark these things up with schema markup. We'll cover that in a little bit. We want our contact pages, our related locations. This might not be actually in the menu items, but we want our related locations if we serve them, et cetera, et cetera. So, super important, we need to figure out what the site layout looks like, what the keywords look like, what the keyword mapping and the content would look like, 300 to 500 words per page minimum. And then we move on to how we would actually be creating that content and what would it look like to, either outsource that content or buy it. We're also going to be going over how to kind of streamline the content creation. We're actually experimenting. I'm experimenting right now with a technique I actually learned from an interview with Lee Waters. And I don't know if Lee Waters is in this course, but if you are, I really do appreciate this sort of thing that you showed me or told me about. What it is you go and take videos, 30 to 60 minutes worth of video asking questions around different keywords. So we would take, for instance, our services, and we would say, hey Chase, what do you do for social media? And then I would say, okay, well in Santa Barbara, we do X, Y, and Z, we do Pinterest, this is what we do for Pinterest. And so then you can take that and make that into a landing page and just do a transcription and rank on YouTube as well, but also reduce your bounce rates and sell at a higher rate because video actually sells better. So that being said, we will be trying that in this course and seeing how the results go from that as well. So hopefully that goes pretty well. Cool, so the next thing that we're going to be covering is the on-page optimizations, and at the same time, we're also going to be covering Google My Business optimizations. I mean, not at the exact same time, but around the same time period, right? So that's super important. We need to be able to know, what categories we need to put, how to optimize our images, how to set up certain things like the new texting features on Google My Business, that kind of stuff. And then in terms of on-page, we need to know how to do like internal link silos, title tag optimization, click-through rate optimization by adding qualifiers, that kind of good stuff. Optimizing our meta descriptions, increasing our content relevancy by adding semantic keywords, and all that good stuff. So you guys already are probably a little bit familiar with this stuff, so I won't dive too deep into it, and we will be diving deeper into it when we actually are making the site. But just know that that's going to be number 3. So let's get rid of this and keep moving forward. Number 4, we're going to want to start covering more technical things like, of course, taking schema markup and marking up our pages, OG data for sharing and social signals, and how we can mark up our different types of pages like our home page, our about page, our contact page, our service pages by adding review markup, getting higher click-through rates by getting the star ratings, and using our reviews to generate those to be able to use schema markup to generate those aggregate rating stars underneath the organic search results. The other things that we're going to want to cover are things around review generation, which is going to be super important for us to do. Review generation. As well as social signals. So we can hopefully use that to get out of the sandbox. And one of the things that I forgot to mention that we will be actually covering in the first part when we are, the second part when we are setting up the website with all the keywords and everything is installing analytics and the conversion tracking online and offline so we can measure an ROI, how to calculate your ROI, and then also the Search Console setup, sitemaps, that kind of stuff. Cool. We'll also be covering like what kind of plugins you'd want to use if you're using WordPress, and if you're not using WordPress, what kind of tools you'd want to use on Squarespace as well. So after that, a lot of this other stuff is going to be going into, what can we do to get sort of the extra boosts around what we're doing. So like content marketing, link outreach, for local, citation building, anything that's really going to help us get that extra competitive edge. And all this stuff is white hat. We're not really trying to do anything black hat here that's going to get us penalized in the long run. There may be some things that are a little in the gray area, but overall I try not to do anything black hat. And usually the stuff that's a little bit more in the gray area is sort of some of the review generation techniques I teach or that I do, and maybe some of the optimizations for the Google My Business by adding keywords in there. But but I think that's a good outline. I think I might have missed a couple things. Of course, if you go and check out the landing page, I put everything in there that we are going to be doing, and I will be referencing that in the long run. But just know that this is sort of the outline. Really what we're trying to do here is we're trying to go from having basically no website, no content management system, no hosting, figuring out what you would want to do for your domain, figuring out your brand, how you're going to do your branding, setting up your Google My Business, setting up all your keywords, figuring out your competition, how hard it's going to be to rank for your keywords, building out all of your different pages, your service pages, your related location pages, hopefully start building some authority, build your citations, start, oh, and last one, sorry, I forgot to show you, was our AdWords. So I'm actually certified. Well, I was. I don't know if my certificates wound up running out because they do that every year, but I was certified at one point for pretty much every area of AdWords. And so I have some AdWords campaigns that I've ran in the past for my local businesses that went really, really well. And we're going to be covering how you can do the same thing with certain things like location extensions, call-out extensions, negative keyword targeting, all that good stuff. So that's it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and thank you for watching part 1. I will be seeing you back for part 2, where we're going to dive into the first part, which is, as we said before, figuring out your domain. What are the advantages of using exact match domains, that sort of thing. Figuring out your content management system, and then sort of just doing the preview of what we're going to be trying to accomplish in our area based off our competition. Cool. So until I see you guys next time, happy SEOing.